If you are thinking of a bank that takes care of customers' needs by providing quality services with flexibility, reliability, and innovation, think Trust Bank Limited. With Trust Bank Limited mobile banking, you enjoy services such as balance inquiry, mini statement, funds transfer between accounts, exchange rates, mobile airtime top-up, stop ATM card, checkbook request, and PIN change. Our real-time gross settlement allows the customer to instruct the bank to transfer funds from their account to another account at another bank. Our expertise and experience in international banking is both legendary and the envy of the market. Retail banking, one bank, different amazing packages. Whether you are interested in savings account, current account, time or fixed deposit account, lending or overdraft, our team of dedicated staff is always ready and willing to help you out with your transactions as you wish. Corporate banking. Trust Bank Limited offer the most convenient services for deposit accounts, credit facilities, trade finance, bond and guarantee, and foreign currency account. With e-banking, you can make electronic bill payments and online banking and enjoy 24-hour access to your cash with our ATM. With the largest network of branches and agents, we give you the convenience to receive funds as you please. Trust Bank Limited, proudly Gambian.
fay lempo warugal la si képp koo xam ne doomi réew mi nga ak ñu fi dëkk bu fekkee ne ci at mi sa koom-koom weesu na $24,000 dalasi mbete weer bu nekk di nga am lu tollu si $2,000 dalasi lempo si la nguur gi di sukkandeku ngir liggéey yokkute réew mi GRA mooy banxaas bu nguuri Gambia sas ngir mu fayeku lépp luy lempo ci biir réew mi ba tax na GRA di yëgal faykati lempo yi ne warugal la pour ñu fay lu ñu naan withholding tax on contract payment maanaam bépp contract bu waay joxe te si biir réew mi lañu toog kon xaalis si contract bi ngeen nangotoo war nga cee wàññi ci xayma téeméer bu nekk fukka bu fekkee ne contracto bi dëkkut ci biir réew mi bu boobaa di nga war a wàññi téeméer bu nekk fukka ak juróom lii mooy lempo bu ñu naan withholding tax on contract payment lii mooy lempo bi nga xam ne yow mi joxe contract warugal la nga wëlbatiku dem fay ko ci maakaani GRA tax office bu la gën a jege mbete ci banque yi GRA jagleel pour fay lempo war ngaa jébal lempo bi si diiri fukki fan ak juróom gannaaw bi nga wàññee ci xaalis si contract bi amul benn contracto bu ñu teggil fay lempo bi xanaa mu fekk ne nguuri Gambia ñoo ko jégale boole si projet yi nga xam ne mbootaay ndimbali ñoo koy dépense GRA di fayeku lempo ngir yokk.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia, Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Bibliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Bibliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high-quality and non-size restricted printing service supply across the sub-region. Rush now and partner with GPPC for all your public and private printing service needs. Print with us today and you'd be offered highly professional, reliable and efficient service delivery by our team of experts. The Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation is here to meet all demands and is reliable at all times. For more info, contact us on 437-4493 or 437-4402. GPPC is Gambian and it's yours.
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel.
This is Kerr Fatou. Oli.
Hello and welcome to another edition of our show, Kerr Fatou. And of course, every Thursday we come here to talk to you about trending issues, what is happening in the country. Last week we were talking about football, and we were in chairs after Thursday. We were in chairs to witness the Gambia South Sudan game. It was great, and we picked a point there. But yesterday, unfortunately, Gambia played against Congo Brazzaville. Unfortunately, we lost. But again, that's football, hoping that, you know, our coming matches we're able to catch up and qualify, because that's what everybody wants. And Esa, welcome to the show again.
Thank you for having me again. And of course, we welcome our guests, but I'm sure you'll do that introduction. Yeah.
Of course, we are going to have Mary here. Mary Johnson is the Director of Regulatory Affairs from the Food Safety Authority. Mary, welcome to the show for the first time.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
Today we're going to have a very interesting conversation, Esa. We're going to look at food safety issues. There's so much to talk about. The Snipper Saga, Snipper Spray Saga, the Brikama fish market, and, you know, general food safety issues, because you know that there are so many supermarkets here. Some people, you know, there are allegations that people sell expired foods, obviously the street vendors and all other issues that are related to food safety issues. We will be having Mary to talk about all of that. But before we get into the food safety, let's look at what was trending this week. So many things, but I think what really is still trending was from yesterday at the government minister's retreat. The Vice President, Honorable His Excellency Badara Diouf, made a statement that in a normal country, in a normal democracy, that should be the way that public officials should be speaking. That is the tone that they should be speaking. Why do you think this created so much buzz for him to say things should not be as normal as they were before, that the government officials should now start working in the interest of the people, and so many other things? He talked about all these sectors. We look at that, but why do you think this became so big that everybody thought, oh my God, this is the guy, this is the guy? Why do you think so?
I think, Fatou, there's, something, whether I will say unique about this government or so, but I think if you look at VP Badara Diouf, when he was appointed, Minister of Higher Education back in 2017, after leaving his job with the World Bank, if I'm right, a lot of people, those that know Badara Diouf, were like, okay, I think that's a good pick. A lot of people were happy that he will, really transform the higher education sector. This is a sector that I'm from, but with all honesty, I've not seen much improvement in the higher education sector under Badara Diouf, and that is why when he was appointed Vice President, being moved from higher education and being replaced by Professor Gomez, I was like, probably this is a good move, because I know the one that is chosen, that is Gomez, is a good pick for the higher education ministry. And Badara, people like, he's somebody, people that work with him will tell you that he's very honest and truthful and very blunt. He doesn't miss his words when it comes to speaking his mind. And I think that is at some point as a country, the situation that we are in, we know that we are at crossroads. We need people, especially public officials, that will speak their minds, that will speak truth to power, even when they are in office. Because most of the time, people tend to see this as conflict of interest, that you cannot be in government and also speaking about the wrongs that are happening there. But I think that is the height of dishonesty on the part of public officials, because you are serving the public, and anything that is detrimental to the welfare and well-being of the public, you should speak about it, you should speak against it. At some point, if it is on your side, you should be able to take responsibility. But even if it is on the side of your colleagues in government, I think you should be also man up. You should be honest to yourself and honest to people and honest to country and speak about it. And I think that is very welcoming. It generates a lot of controversy as well. The reason why people are so much interested in this, and we're like some applauding Badara for the statement, is that also it seems like it is happening for the first time. Like I said, the norm in the Gambia is that people think that when something bad is happening in government, you should not talk about it. Because you are in the system, you cannot talk about those things. So I think it is historic. It is for the first time people hear, I mean, a public official, especially a vice president, because the vice presidents that we have, we were not here during Jawara's time, but we know from the Jammeh time, 1997, the vice president that has been there, that is Aissatou Njie Sedi, will never stand and say anything against Yaya Jammeh. For 20 years that she has been in office, we have never heard, I've never heard it anyway. So I think it was new, like it was unimaginable for Gambians, like to hear a vice president, I mean, talk about these things. And obviously, if you listen to this statement very well, critically analyze it, you realize that he's talking about the failure of this government. He's talking about this government not taking its responsibility, because these are things that we have been talking about since 2017. So it seems it is a reminder to the government, but more especially the leadership, the president himself, reminding him that your government has a responsibility, and it must act within those responsibilities. So. But then also the reason why it generates a lot of controversy, people are like, why talking about these things now? If Badara was not in government, one could understand that you cannot talk about these things. But these problems have been going on for long. I mean, and Badara never talked about this when he was in government as high education minister, now vice president. But one could also argue, probably, you know, his domain, like high education, he will speak, you know, on issues related to that area.
But now he's
the vice president, yeah. Number 2, so he can talk about a lot of other issues, because he's just supporting the president, you know, number 2 in the country. So he can generally talk about a lot of other issues that, just like the president is the head of the cabinet, the president can talk about a lot of other issues that are happening in government. So Badara being number 2, now he has the leverage, now he has the opportunity to talk about a lot of other things. So, but I think the most controversial part of it, which probably we'll get to, you might want you might be interested in that, has to do with the statement that was out yesterday about the land grabbing thing, you know, where he used the word foreigners, foreign investors, let's say, or foreign companies coming in to take our lands and all that. That is what has generated a lot of other controversies, because some people are like, you know, I think Badara is not being honest to himself, because this is not about foreign companies or investors coming to take our land. It is about the corrupt nature of this government when it comes to land allocation. The problems have been there. So instead of Badara using the foreign companies as scapegoats, he should just be blunt and honest to say, we have, I mean, corruption in this country when it comes to land allocation and all that.
But I think he was very straightforward when it came to that. Yeah. What he said was there should be an embargo on people giving the way they give land to investors. For example, I think this is one of the things we had issues with. I think when I had the PS here, for example, you have a land under TDA, and they'll tell you, oh no, you know, you cannot have that because this is TDA, and they take it to you. You have bought this land, mind you, but they go give it to foreign investors, because they say, oh, they're going to build hotels, they're going to build resort, they're going to build something there, instead of giving it to us Gambians. And at the end of the day, these foreign investors, they use part of that for that, and the other part they use it for their residents. But foreign investors can live alongside the sea, but Gambians cannot. And he was also saying that let's have embargo on that for now and give land to the ordinary Gambians, because the ordinary Gambians own this land and they deserve to live on this land. I think there's something
that's what I'm saying. Like what I'm trying to tell you, because we're doing an analysis, what some people have said out there, because I've read a statement, a piece written by someone who is arguing that you know, Badara should just be honest to say that this is happening in government. It's not the foreign companies that should be used as scapegoats.
Yeah.
Rather, it is also about the corruption, like what public officials, especially the Ministry of Land, are doing. I mean, selling land to people illegally and all that not. Like that's the opinion of people out there. But that's why I said this is how some people are perceiving it to be.
Yeah.
But the reality is that if you look at it, at the end of the day, it all boils down to the issue of it all boils down to the government being irresponsible. I mean, obviously, those officials that are responsible at the Ministry of Lands not doing their job, because like you said, what he was talking about also is making sure that our own Gambians have access to land. Because what he's saying is that if at the end of the day there is no control mechanism, the next generation to come will not have shelter. Do you understand? So instead of, I think for him, we should prioritize Gambians more. Yeah. I mean, to make sure that, because there are a lot of people that are struggling to even secure a plot of land in this country. They are renting, you know, rent is expensive now. And some people are working for a decade or more. They can't even secure a land. Even if you secure a land, it's expensive to build a house there. So he is more concerned about Gambians having access to these lands. But like you said, even those foreign companies that are having access to these lands, that probably, you know, are not done in the right way. What Badara is trying to say is that this must be done in the right way. Those public officials, especially the Ministry of Lands, must man up to that. But the way some people are seeing, the way you are seeing it, and the way some people are seeing it is different, in the sense that he should just be blunt to say that it's you, the public officials, that are doing this. Government public officials, especially the Ministry of Lands, are the ones that are doing this. So it's not only about the minister, I mean, acting, making sure that these foreign, so the point is that it's not only foreign companies, but even a lot of these estate agents that are in the country right now, how are they even getting, I mean, securing some of the lands that they are securing in other parts of the country? And when they come, they sell these at exorbitant price to ordinary Gambians. I mean, at the end of the day, it's also creating a lot of controversy, because for me, it's not only about land allocation, the way land is allocated, whether it's foreign investors, whether it's Gambians owning real estate agencies, but it's also about the problem, the controversy surrounding land disputes in this country. You buy your own land, just the next day somebody else also buys it, and then you go to court. So these are all creating problems in the country. And that is why it is important for the Ministry of Local Government to act not only, I mean, in the sense that we have problems when it comes to land allocation, but also the disputes. Why are we continuously having land disputes in this country? People will buy, 2 people or 3 people will buy the same plot of land, and nothing comes out of it. There are people that are doing that in this country, selling the same piece of land, 1 plot of land, to 3 people or 4 people. And it seems like, especially the village heads, alcalos, you know, safeholds, all these people are involved in some of these acts, and the authorities are aware of them. Why can't we solve this issue once and for all? But I think that's a very good point, even though some people disagree with him. But I think also it's not bad for us for these things to come out. Even if Badara was in government, let's say Badara was in government for the past 5-6 years, which some people consider a waste, because people have been crying about this, the government did nothing about it, and for them this is why talking now. But I also
it's never too late.
It's never too late. It's good that we appreciate this, that is coming. But also it's not only even the land issue. I think he was also talking about.
Yeah, we'll come to that, because there's so many other things, even the food, you know, high in prices. But you know, Mary, as a government officials, I do know that the reason why the Director General is not here is he's also attending this government retreat. So tell me, how, you know, you watched the Vice President speak. As a government official, what's your assessment of that statement?
With respect to the land issues, or with respect
to general?
For me, as a government official, and then directly being under the office of the Vice President, since 2017, when the new administration came, the Barrow government, I was privy to work with 3 Vice Presidents, which is Her Excellency Fatmata Tambajang, Honorable Usainu Dabo, Dr. Aissa Tuture, and with the new Vice President, that is Dr. Badara. Looking at the assessment, I think each of the Vice President, when you come new, you would have commitments, you have the zeal, you have the passion that you want to work. But the difference with Dr. Badara Loom is, Dr. Badara Juf, is he's taking a fast approach, and for me, he's basically talking about majority of his things is based on competence for me. It's based on competence. In terms of competence, meaning he wants to reform the sector. But there are statements he mentioned that it would no more be business as usual. So what do you call business as usual? What was the usual? What is business as usual? So as a government official, certain things, to be honest, need to be changed in terms of how government officials work.
Yeah.
They have to be more committed to their work. There should be honesty and there should be zero corruption.
Yeah.
But the issue of corruption is something that is very delicate.
Yeah.
Because according to the laws, even a $1 say is part of corruption.
Yeah.
But how do you quantify corruption? But the issue is with the way Dr. Badarulum is coming and he's speaking, the force he's taking, I'm sure a lot of government officials will start changing things. Because we had a courtesy call that we paid to his office. And I was a bit impressed, and we also discussed when we went back to the office that, oh, looks like we really need to work harder. We were working hard, but we need to work harder. Because the way he was pushing is like, you have to work, and it's all about what? Delivery. It's not about having work plans and everything on paper. No, it's about practicalizing everything.
I worked in not government direct at a parastatal before in Gamtel. I remember whenever we have new management and the managing director comes and say this and start tangle, tangle. You know, people start getting resistance, and he start, because you know it's different. It's difficult to change perception or mindsets. It's not just by speaking. It's by, you have to act on it as well. So when you have somebody like him coming in and pushing things, do you think he's going to get a lot of people in the system even fighting? I saw some ministers looking at, hey, look at Demba. You know, I saw some faces were like this. Some people were giving him, you know, that eye that we all know. Yo, what are you saying? At some point, he even said, but you know what? This is what we want to do. We must deliver to the people. Do you think he's going to get backlash from his own colleagues?
Probably he will, but not publicly.
Yeah.
Because for me, I think it's good in a sense. In a sense that it's going to be on people's mind that you have to work hard. There is someone watching, you need to add more. But I think we just have to give him a while, sit a while, and give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Yes, he's been saying this, but he's in office less than a month, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's give him the benefit of the doubt and see what he has to offer and see whether the change he's asking for, it would really happen. Because in terms of, like you mentioned about how would public officials see it, because I think he also has to have a mechanism in place.
Yeah.
How does he address this? Because if you bring change and then the people are not responsive to the change, you have to have mechanisms. Yeah. What are the enforcement mechanisms? What are the strategies he is going to put in place to allow the change? And I think the strategies, for me, he's somehow laying it down. Because look at the cabinet retreat that he held.
Yeah.
Previously, I would say it's the Secretary General that calls up cabinet retreat, or the Secretary to Cabinet.
Yeah.
For me, this is the first time I'm seeing a Vice President calling up a cabinet retreat and taking ownership of the cabinet retreat. Because most of the cabinet retreat previously were held by the President.
Yeah.
But this is something new to me, which I was surprised that the Vice President is holding up the cabinet retreat. And then another thing is, they're also inviting heads of institutions.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about a cabinet retreat, it's normally only with ministers. Those are cabinet ministers.
Yeah.
But now, no, he is bringing it down to the technicians level, which are the who? The permanent secretaries. We know that the ministers, they are political appointees.
Yeah.
But in all these ministries, the permanent secretaries are the admin. Yeah. They're the technical people. So I could see that he's bringing them on board. He's bringing the permanent secretaries. Not only the permanent secretaries, he's bringing in the director generals, which are the heads of institutions, the managing directors, the executive director. So I could see that he's somehow practicalizing things now and ready for action. So it's all about us government officials have to get on the board and then allow him to sail. But for how long do we allow him to sail as well? But so I think for me, he's moving to a right direction, and we need to support the move and give him the benefit of the doubt.
But Esa, is he taking clue from the president? Because remember, the president, no, Esa, no. I think during the, was it when the Muslim elders went to the president, apart from the Mahdi saga, right? The president was tough. He was really tough. He said he's not going to be but we knew. You either walk or you go. For the first time, he said that. And then hearing the vice president also coming, he was really hard. I mean, I told my team, can we do a story on this, just, you know, a new story? And the cameraman, Varsila, was like, the camera lady was like, no, we have to play the entire video. You have to hear what the vice president said. And after watching that video, I knew that, I don't know, but I think it seems like the government is taking a reset. They really want to change things. And Barrow said this is his legacy. He said it. And maybe that's the vice president is taking clue from the president. Yeah,
it could be, because like I said, I think also maybe Barrow is being honest to himself and realize that the past 5-6 years have been a total waste under his administration. Nothing significant has been achieved, especially when it comes to, taking care of the welfare and well-being of Gambians. That is why he said this is his legacy. This is the chance that he has. And that is why he's not going to be business as usual. And I think it's important that both the president and the vice president speaks in that flow. We are not seeing that contradiction in their statements. What we are seeing is uniformity in terms of their comment, because it's about number one and number two. So if both of them are speaking in tandem, especially something that Gambians really want, because I mean, especially when it comes to attitude of civil servants or public servants, I think this is so worrying. I've always been talking about this, and if we're seeing the president saying that, and also the vice president coming in that line, I think that gives us hope. Even though, like you ask, whether some cabinet colleagues will be happy with this, it's not even only about cabinet colleagues. It's about whether Gambians in general, a lot of Gambians will be happy about this. You and I may be happy here that yes, this is what we want, but go down there, not only cabinet officials, but a lot of other public officials who are in offices. You think they'll be happy? When Barrow even talked about attitude, I mean late attitude towards work, people coming too late at work and all that. I mean, a lot of people were not happy with that, because they know that they are victims. They know that they are not necessarily victims, but they are guilty of such acts, coming to work late, and these things need to change. And that is why I think, like I said earlier, a lot of people who have worked with Badara will tell you he's just that honest man. He's just that very blunt with the truth, and doesn't, even higher education, when he was at higher education, at some point when the staff association, UTG staff association, had issues with management, he was very blunt with the management. At some point during that crisis, the UTG management, said to the staff association that, in fact, it was during a meeting when they told him that, we are trying, because they wanted to kind of bribe him with words to say, in fact, we are trying to buy laptops for all the staff here and there. He told them, then where is that laptop? And they were like, okay, it was a politic. They were trying to use politics to say, just to calm the situation, to say we'll buy, but in reality they did not want to buy laptops. They just used that to camouflage the situation. But when they said, he said, where's the laptop? They said, okay, we're trying to purchase. He gave them a timeline to say, you must purchase it within this period. And that was how all the academic staff of UTG got laptops. That was in 2017 when he came to office newly. So he's this honest person, somebody who will just speak his mind. And I think it's important that he doesn't care what comes out of it at the end of the day, whether he is fired or not, because that is why it's important for one to be a professional. If you're educated and you're a professional, you don't care whether a politician appoints you or not, because if not this government, if not this position, Badara could be working somewhere. He left his lucrative job at the World Bank. But somebody who is dogoing, you have no qualification, you're just there to bootlick, and whatever the president does, that's what you will go in for, because at the end of the day, that when you are sacked, probably you have nowhere to go, and we have seen examples of that.
Did he cross the line when he said, I don't care if the president leaves?
I'm not sure whether he said that. I didn't hear
He said it in a different way, but, he didn't mind if the president even let him go, but he will make sure something
he did not overstep.
You think that wouldn't hurt Barrow's feelings?
It might, but you see, there's one thing also we have to understand. I think Barrow sees that competence and potential in Badara, and that is why he brought him there. And losing him probably might be a big blow to him, if really what he said is what he means, that he wants, this is about his legacy. He really wants to deliver to the Gambian people for the next 5 years. He might need somebody like, it might not be for the entire 5 years, but he might need somebody like Badara, who is, of course, the qualification is that the competence is there. When he speaks, that yes, the guy does not only understand domestic issues, but even international issues. As a president, if you don't have that, if you are not up to that level, so you need somebody who is supporting you. And in all honesty, we know that Barrow is not up to that level. So he needs somebody like Badara to help in that. It might just be to pave the way, just to help him dig the foundation to be a strong one. And then he might need somebody else in the future. But I mean, like I said, Barrow might also, because we have to be careful also, because these are politicians. Sometimes, the way they perceive things and the way they listen, because they have different people that are talking to them. So if Badara is coming out, indirectly saying that even if Barrow will sack me, I don't care. He might be aware of the consequences of his words. knowing fully well that the president listens to a lot of people might be coming to him, telling him this, that. Exactly. So if that happens, I mean, that might go against Badara. He might not be there. But at the end of the day, it is about Gambia. It is about delivering to the people. And that is what they are in office for. Badara might also, like I said, see the past 5-6 years as a waste, that the government had not done much with honesty when it comes to, I mean, pertinent issues relating to corruption, relating to, you know, living cost in the country and all that not.
And he spoke about that. He spoke about the high cost of living in the country. Because this is, I mean, the reason why I think this statement was important was it was applauded by everybody. And what he talked about, everybody is a living testimony to it. The high cost of living. Yes, I've said there's things are expensive in America, in the UK, in Ukraine, in Russia, in Senegal. But also governments are also looking at ways of subventing, you know, these things. What is our government doing? And he said there should be a way out of this, how we can help the citizens. He talked about this and everybody was saying, yes, this is what we wanted to hear from public officials. So why do you think up to now we don't see a clear-cut direction as to what government is doing to alleviate some of these things? You
see, there's one thing, politicians can be very dangerous when dealing with the people, especially the electorates, ordinary people. And what happens here is that they try to make the ordinary Gambian believe that, look, it's expensive, it's hard all over the world. Yeah. When you go to the US, the UK, Mali, Guinea, Senegal, all over, living cost is high. Gambia is not an exception. See, I always say this. Why do we always have to, I mean, equate the Gambia with other countries in terms of negativity, but not positivity? Now, you're looking at the Gambia and said everything is expensive all over the world. In the US, things are expensive. Fine, it's normal for things to be expensive here. But the US is developed. Why not the Gambia? Do you understand? So it means you're comparing the two in terms of negativity, that, oh, things are bad there, they are bad here as well. But other countries are moving. Where are we going as a country? But then aside from that, you see, the high cost of living, I might not be able to go in details because I'm not an economist, to know what exactly is the problem and what can we do to diagnose that problem and come up with solutions. But then one thing that is very basic is that, you know, we know that there's a crisis in Ukraine. We know that the COVID-19 has also affected a lot of economies, and the Gambia is not an exception to that. But one thing that is certain is that, you know, there are measures or mechanisms that countries try to use, strategies that countries try to use, and this is what Badara is specifically insinuating. I'm trying to point at. We must be able to come up with strategies, especially post-COVID, because when COVID was on, a lot of international agencies, or even, you know, those that were giving aids or finances to countries, we're talking about post-COVID recovery. Because you take an example of, for instance, let's go to history, like when World War II ended. I mean, America was not that affected by the devastating impacts of World War II. Yeah. America rolled out an economic recovery plan for European countries, to the Marshall Plan, to help them recover or rebuild their economies after suffering from the devastating impact of World War II. So when these problems, crises are going on, countries think of strategizing. What do we do when COVID is over? But then the only leverage that we had, we know that employment was affected. We know that the economy was affected a lot. But then we had one leverage. How do you call it? The money that comes from outside, remittance. Remittance was coming. 2021, we had 62% of our GDP comes from outside. Yeah. That was the remittance, the contribution of remittance to the GDP. The leverage, the other leverage that we also had was the money that was coming in support due to COVID-19. Yeah. Where did that money go to? We know that there was mismanagement and misuse of those funds, those COVID funds. And the National Audit Report came out to show that there were indeed mismanagement and misuse of these funds. But what did the government do about those things? So if you tell us that COVID had affected our economy and all that, we agree. But there were other alternatives too. There were strategies that the government is supposed to put in place to make sure that when COVID is over, when COVID is about to go, we do not have such economic, I mean, a devastating economic situation, because at the end of the day, there are funds somewhere that will be able to take care of certain things. We're talking about even for, so government subsidizing, for instance, certain things, I think that will help as well. But it's not about the money not being here, that the country is poor, we don't have money. We indeed have money, but where do you use this money? Are you properly utilizing the money that is coming, especially when it comes to the fund with COVID-19? So nothing is being done about those things. There are corruption allegations, misuse and mismanagement of public COVID funds. Nothing came out of these things. So the government is not that proactive to some of these things. I think they are just slightly reactive. When things happen, they just come and say 1, 2, 3, and then they stop there. But there must be those strategies. The government must be able to come up with strategies that are going to address some of these loopholes that exist. And of course, that is contributing to the high cost of living, the failure of that.
On Monday, the World Bank launched the second economic update report of the Gambia. And it was important to know that the government, the minister said the reason why, he said the Ukraine-Russia invasion is now being felt domestically, as Russia and Ukraine are global players in the supply and basic of commodities such as oil, gas, maize. That's why it's like the costs are high in the country. There was the war impact on fuel prices has also affected the economy of the Gambia. Government is doing all it can do to avoid the challenges, right? But the World Bank is saying that the Gambia the economy was hit very hard during the COVID, and since had recovered in 2021, right? But the Gambia performed initially very well, similarly depending on the tourism industry. But he said it continued the current. But he's saying that. Let me read this because it's important. The Gambian economy was hit very hard by the COVID-19 pandemic, but since became to recover in 2020, despite a sharp contradiction in international travel in 2021. He said the Gambia performed better initially than similar in tourism-dependent periods, thanks to remittances and agricultural growth. He continued to say that the fiscal and current account deficit has become to widen in 2021, adding that the fiscal policy reforms are needed to build the fiscal space to respond to the future shock, right? The government needs to improve its spending efficiency, including its investment in social protection, education, health, and that human capacity will be key to sustain the growth.
Fiscal discipline, government judiciously spending public funds. I think that is why, in fact, they decided to cut traveling of public officials at some point. I think this was a month ago or so, trying to limit the rate at which public officials travel. But like you see, I've not read this full report. I saw it's being launched. Yeah. But one thing that they've mentioned, which is very true, has to do with remittance increasing, especially 2021, like I said, 62%. Yeah. But I'm not an economist, but this is very basic. We know that if remittance contributes 62% or 61% to the country's GDP, it shows one thing, Fatou. It shows that there's less economic productivity in the country. And this is sad, knowing fully well that tourism has been affected by COVID-19. But see, the basic things that Gambians are complaining today, the food that we rely on and all that, not rice, for instance. We don't have to take the, Ukraine-Russia crisis as an excuse to say it's responsible for the entire economic hardship in the Gambia, okay? We don't have to take COVID-19 to say it's responsible for the entire economic hardship in the Gambia. We can produce rice in this country. We can feed ourselves. We have the resources, the land, and everything is there. There are certain basic things, the basic commodities that Gambians produce in this country. If you know very well that this is not working at the international level, we know we have a crisis, and the Russia-Ukraine crisis has hit the world, has hit economies all over the world, even big powers, not only the Gambia. But then what measures are you going to put in place to make sure that those commodities that Gambians can produce and Gambians really rely on a lot, how do you make sure that those things are available? The Russian crisis is not going to affect that. So there must be strategies after all, and that is why it's important for these conversations to be held, because one thing I think that is missing in this country is it seems like we don't have a professional advice to the government when it comes to some of these issues. At this stage, we should be talking about economists coming to tell us the way out. When COVID was here, was well and alive, I think that was also an opportunity for the government to engage economists, people that can come up with strategies and all that. These strategies that Badara is talking about, what we are saying is that these strategies should have been there since. And that's why I said Badara is indirectly acknowledging the failure of this government to come up with strategies. Because now we're talking about not only COVID, but also the Ukraine-Russia crisis. And now we're talking about coming up with strategies. So the strategies should have been there in the first place before we reach at this stage. So I think the government really needs to work on that.
Government needs to work on that. And now let's talk about food. Yeah. Someone was telling me, why are you so interested in food safety? Yeah. But I think I'm not the only one interested in food safety. Food safety is everyone's business, Mary. And recently we have seen officials of your office really cracking down on supermarkets, the Brikama Fish Market, and now the Snipper Saga. Let's start with the Snipper Saga. What happened? What did your office know about this issue?
Actually, thank you very much, Fatou. I am glad you said food safety is everybody's business.
Yes.
So it's the business of FSAQ, it's the business of the media as well to be reaching out to food safety. So with respect to the sniper issue, food safety is an authority that doesn't relent on information received. Because most of the people, the information that is, most government officials, information that is on social media, they will look at it and give a little pinch of importance to it. They might say these are rumors. But for us, yes, we can say these are rumors unless we ascertain that these are fact. But those rumors have to be taken on board and you see how you address the rumors. So these are rumors that were going on social media. And then food safety was very responsive in that.
What was the rumor that people
they said that the women folks, the smokers, the fish smokers, actually use sniper on the smoked fish.
Okay.
They use it for preservative purposes. To avoid the flies and everything, just to keep it dry, to avoid the moist. So when we received these issues, yes, why we really acted was that we really cannot ascertain now that they're using the sniper or not. But we know that certain fish, if there is a level of moisture, definitely it will get maggots and it would get spoiled. Fish has to be dried considering our weather. So when we receive these issues, what we talked about is food safety is everybody's business. It's not only food safety that can handle this issue of the sniper, whether it is on the smoked fish. There are a lot of stakeholders in it across the chain. When you look at the effect of the sniper, for example, let's say there is presence of sniper in the fish, it would raise issues of what? Health issues. Let's say if we stop the issue of sniper, it would raise what? Trade issues. Let's say that we stop the issues of sniper, environmental issues and other issues. So what this food safety did was, we brought in stakeholders together, stakeholders from the Ministry of Health, which is the Directorate of Public Health Services, and then we also brought the National Environment Agency, who have a register of all the approved and authorized list of pesticide and insecticides in this country coming into the country. We brought in NEA, reason being that a month ago they banned the issue of sniper. Why do they ban it? They said it is hazardous and globally it's been banned. So they had to ban it because they are signatories to a lot of treaties where in other countries ban, you have to follow suit. So we brought in NEA, we also brought in the Ministry of Health, we brought in NANA, National Nutrition Agency, we brought in the National Codex Committee of the Gambia, they're also part of it, we brought in the Department of Fisheries, we also brought in experts that are in their certain areas, experts from FAO that are dealing with pests, we brought in NARI, we brought in Plant Protection Services, all these, if the ordinary Gambian sits there, you would say probably, what is the importance of all this? But we felt that this is something that we need to bring everybody on board. So we brought everybody on board, sat on a table, strategized what are we doing. When we strategize what we intend to do, we are doing what? We need to investigate, we need to get out there, we need to meet the women, we need to get to the market level, to the smoking, to the landing side. So there's an investigation team that has been set up with comprising of all these stakeholders, and we've strategized. Some are in the markets, major markets, and at the landing sites and at the smoke fishing areas like Katong, Tanje. We went up to Fonyi because we realized that in Fonyi, you have a lot of smoked fish that is there that is supplying Birkama. We realized the smoked fish getting to Birkama market is coming from the Fonyis mainly. So we reached out to all these areas and the teams are there, they're investigating, they're taking samples, and these investigations are what you need to take samples. We're taking samples from these areas, from the smoking level, from the market level, and also some that have spent at least 2-3 days after smoking, because that's the area which you can put the preservative at. So we've taken samples from these, and we intend to test these smoked fish to see whether they have levels of the sniper that is being claimed to be there, which is the chemical. So that's what we're doing.
So what happens now? How far with the investigation?
Oh, the investigation, we're really going fast because food safety issues, you need not waste time.
Yeah.
So, but the biggest issue is issues of laboratory. Nonetheless, we don't have labs in Gambia that can test that.
Wow.
So what we're doing is we're trying to send the samples outside the Gambia. Either we send it to Dakar or we send it to Germany. But regardless of the journey in terms of, let's say, Germany is far, but once we send these samples via DHL, we can get the results within the shortest period of time. It's sad that we don't have a lab here. If we had a lab, it would have been more effective in terms of timely response to the matter. But we're taking samples, we're really expediting the issue, taking samples and testing it. Once we test this, we would know whether there's presence or not, and then we'll get back to the public and do a proper, as soon as, I would say a reasonable time. Let's say within I could say a week or two.
And in the meantime, we can eat fish. Because
no, we cannot eat fish.
What happens if the sniper was there? Have you, I mean, it's a tough decision to make, right?
It is, whether to buy the fish or not. Because during the investigation, we realized that this is why we brought in the Ministry of Trade, because we realized there are losses. These women nowadays, when you go to Katong, majority of them are not smoking fish. Some will tell you when we smoke the fish, we don't have the bias.
Yeah, because of this.
Because of these snipers. But what they told us was that they are not using the snipers. They said they are not using it. But for them, they are not saying that maybe some people are doing it, some people are not. But for now, as an authority, we cannot ascertain to say, yes, it is. But we pay high level of importance to the fact that it might be yes or no.
Did any single person come out to the authority to confirm that they have used this? And just even maybe a single person? Did you get any report that even confirmed these rumors?
Not yet. What we had was we saw on social media that some people have put in videos that they saw people using it. Some even said they were using it themselves. But as an authority with respect to these issues, because just looking at the fish, one cannot tell whether it has sniper or not. And then for us, when we get the fish, we cannot say there's sniper or not, even if it's on social media. But the basis is what you do is you have to test.
Yeah.
That's the way you can make a concrete decision that yes, you have test. And if we know that they are doing these sniper issues, enforcement actions will definitely take place. We won't spare anybody. And we hope it's not happening.
You said you guys met the public health officials and other stakeholders. Yes. If at all, these snipers have been used to spray fish, what is the impact on the human?
The impact is great. To be honest, we're not per se scaring the public or anything, but the impact of sniper is really adverse. Sniper is a really toxic chemical. It is really bad. That's why it's been banned. But looking at whether it is in the fish or not, because like I said earlier, foodborne diseases, we're not really documenting it in our health centers. Yeah. Because we really don't know whether someone has consumed it or it had happened. But now that people are aware about these things, when you definitely fall ill and you're eating food, to be specific, smoked fish, when you get to the hospital, you'll definitely have to be...
smoked fish.
No, for now we won't scare anybody because... No. Like no, for now, yes. But
no, but for now we have for safety purpose.
Yes, for safety purpose. But the issue is currently, I can tell you that the woman, that's the beauty of sharing information. Because right now, I can tell you, even if we had said a certain group of people are doing it, some people believe. But once you see that the authorities are on the ground, the authorities are aware that such is happening, they wouldn't do that because they know that they are
if you are present where they smoke this fish, some is possible. Yeah, they don't use it, so you can freely.
So that is why our investigation, we're targeting across the value chain from the smoking to the point it has been sold. Because we are not only going to the markets to take the sample, we're going as early, very early in the morning to meet when the women are smoking it. Because when you look at the audio, it's talking about, some said when they're smoking it, at the time of smoking, they apply these things. So we try to get samples at the time when they are smoking. And we also try to get sample at the market level. So for me, right now, I can tell you, even if there's a presence, so-called presence, if there is on the fish, and people were practicing it, but with the issue of social media happening and those people doing it, here that FSAQ or the authorities are coming, they wouldn't do the practice. For me, that was why when investigations mainly are on legally, probably if this was in the court system, for example, one would say you cannot make a comment on it.
Yeah.
Because the matter is ongoing, you cannot make a comment.
Yeah.
And then you don't divulge certain information, because once you do, the person you were going after or the person you were regulating or trying to investigate would know your next steps and prepare. Yeah. But at this point, I can tell you, probably that's why we're not meeting even fish in the market. It's hard to get samples of fish in the market, I can tell you. You go to Serekunda market, most of the sellers are not. Because what they tell you is Katong is not smoking, Gunjuri is not smoking. So whoever has been doing it, probably at this period, must have stopped. Must have stopped. Because the authorities are coming.
But also, when this thing came out, I read it, and then, you know, there was a woman who, you know, issued an audio, you know, and then it was circulating on social media. And then it seems like she was not denying that they used this.
Yeah.
Because that was the interesting part. I said, if you deny, because he was like, this woman that is, you know, spreading this false information, you are lying to the public, you know, it seems like she is more concerned about, I mean, these women that are selling, how they're taking care of their families and all that. But she was saying, like, you know, we just put it in water and then just, you know, spread it on the fish, and that's it. Yeah. So it seems like
they are
not denying that they use it. So I feel like there is an element of truth in this. It depends on how they are using it. Yeah. Whether they use it at the smoking, before they smoke it, or is it after smoking that they apply it. But there is an element of truth in that this is applied. But then my question is, the health consequences are there, and probably we might need a health expert, you know, specifically to go in detail. Well, I saw on social media, I don't know how true it is, but I said, I think Dr. Musa Marena was like, men have to be careful with using, you know, these fish. Snipers can affect them, I think, you know, in terms of their sperm counts and all that not. Yeah. But also I want to talk about, because the food safety, your office was created by an act of parliament, I guess in 2011, and it came into full operation in 2013. So I'm interested in the legal implications. If, for instance, you do your investigation and find out that, yes, you know, there are people that are using these, you know, snipers, what is probably the legal implication? Can you take action, legal action against these people?
Very well, you can take legal action against them. You can prosecute them, you can take legal actions. Because by virtue of the provisions of our Act, Section 37 of our Act clearly states that it is the responsibilities of food business operators to ensure that the food that they are placing on the market for sale is safe and fit for human consumption. So the food business operator may vary. It may be someone smoking, it may be even the person distributing the food, it may be even the person selling the food. So anybody, if we find anybody wanting or anybody in violation of the laws, we will definitely take legal actions and we will enforce. For this, that's why the issues of maslaha needs to stop, because food safety issues need not be compromised.
These are our street vendors now.
Food safety issues don't have to be compromised, because we as food safety officials are consumers at the end of the day. Yeah. We're officials of food safety from 8 to 4. But after 4, we are consumers. So we have to be aware of what we're regulating and what we're placing on the market for sale. But I am hopeful that if there is anybody that is found wanting, definitely we would not compromise.
No. You also said that the sniper itself has been banned. Yes. Now, those that are selling it now that is a prohibited stuff that it should not be sold in the country.
Very well.
Those people that are selling it now, what happens to them? Are you guys going after those? Because if the women cannot have access to it, they will not use
Probably the NEA, you think the NEA will come?
That's what I'm saying, the NEA, they're working with the NEA and others.
It is actually the National Environmental Agency that banned the sniper.
Yeah.
They banned the sniper, and in their press release, there were keywords, because they banned the sniper. but you're banning it, there's already something in the market, like you said. So they also ban the sniper, not only for importation, but also what is currently in stock in the country. So meaning that I am sure that they would have enforcement officers that are going around enforcing to see that any sniper that is in the market is confiscated and recalled and destroyed. Because they're also saying, because the press release that I read from NEA, it only doesn't stop at saying they've banned sniper. Because if you generally say you ban sniper, is mainly business operators might think, okay, you've banned the importation of sniper. But no, there is stock in the market. But once the ban is there, there is stock, and they're taking the strategies of enforcing, meaning getting into the market, trying to get every bit of sniper out of the market, then the woman wouldn't get access. And this is something for me that I find really important, because to me, I am excited about it, that, okay, this is coming up about the sniper, whether it's true or not, because this helps the government officials to be on their feet.
Yeah.
If government officials were not cognizant of these issues of sniper, they might sit up and put no relevance to it. But with the coming of the social media, and then the sniper is a wake-up call for every government official that is responsible.
I was going to come to that, because enforcement is our biggest problem in this country.
It is.
Banning sniper doesn't mean they don't see them on the shelves. You know, I will come to that, even the food safety. You know, how many supermarkets you go, you see milk, you get American, you get expire, and they're still being sold. You know, it's more of enforcement issues in this country. You know, when we have, I always say, we're no sort of laws in this country. But is the enforcement? Do we have the right personnel? Do we even have the capacity to monitor these things? I know this is a new establishment, 10 years or so, 9 years into, since 2013 to now. How many supermarkets do we have here? How many street vendors do we have? Do you even have the personnel to look at all these things and be able to make sure the food that we consume is safe and fit for purpose?
Thank you very much. With respect to that, personnel, like you mentioned, personnel is a problem. The laws are there, beautifully written. The issue is enforcement. But there is no enforcement body that would tell you that I have enough capacity. So what you do is you collaborate with your stakeholders. In collaborating with your stakeholders, I would speak for FSAQ to be specific, and being the Director of Regulatory Affairs and Enforcement, I am responsible for Regulatory Affairs and Enforcement, and there are officers within the department. So in that, we collaborate with enforcement officers to be specific, meaning the police, the Gambia Police Force, and other stakeholders. Because currently there is a task force that is going out for these expired items. Because when we study the market, you need to study the market in terms of importation. That's why it's good to have data. You see that majority of the food that are expired normally will be out around January, mid of the year, and ending. Let's say around Christmas, December time. You have a lot of expired items in the supermarkets. It would expire in December, so they will start now putting it on the special offer shelves around November or October. So what we do is we strategize, and we mainly go out around during that period. But nonetheless, there is currently a task force that has been set up, comprising Food Safety Competition Commission, which is also responsible for the welfare of consumers. There's a task force that they're going out in the markets. Where are they targeting? They're also targeting the markets and the supermarkets. Because when you're doing enforcement, you have to strategize. You have to look at where is the public mainly going to. We know that the public mainly go to the market. That's the high-risk area, the markets and the supermarkets. And also not leave out the warehouses as well. So what you do is, around that period, our officers will go out. Currently, we have officers that are collaborating with the consumer protection and other stakeholders going out in the market to look out the expiration date. They are looking for things that are expired. We have certain areas that are key for selling expired items, and we target those areas. And when you target those areas and confiscate those items, those are the smaller ones. You need to go after the so-called, what they say, the big fish, because you need to do a traceability, what we call traceability, meaning when you get to the market, those having the wheelbarrows selling the expired items, they're taking it from warehouses. Big businesses will have it in their warehouses and take it out in bits and come and give it to these people. So what we do is, when we get those people in the market, we try to trace the source. And interestingly, when you trace the source and we get to the source, you would see that the source has a big warehouse of these expired items. They distribute these things to certain markets like Serekunda, Banjul, and Birkama mainly. And another thing, they would distribute these things up country. They know that our mothers and fathers are up country. These people don't read and write, majority of them. Yeah. But they would take it there, sell it to them. So what we are doing is we are not stopping our enforcement within the region, within the Greater Banjul area. We're decentralizing. And in this, we are working with the police because we're in the process of finalizing a memorandum of understanding with the police. It doesn't mean that finalizing the memorandum, we were not working with the police. We were working with the police amicably and are still doing, but we just want to formalize things. We want to put it on paper, and then we want to add more responsibilities. So issues of capacity are key. What you have to do is you have to strategize and know where you're targeting.
In that aspect, then here comes sensitization, because especially now with this Snipper Saga, you are investigating. The results are not yet out. There are a lot of speculations. Yes, there are economic impact to those women. Especially, I feel sorry for those women who are not doing it, but now their livelihood depends on that, but they are not able to sell those fish because myself and others are scared to even buy a fish. But again, there are others who might also be doing it. Yeah. So the role that you guys are playing to sensitize our people is key here. Are you doing any sensitization as to about this thing, but also generally even, because talking about expired foods, you know, you take expired milk to my grandmother in Badibu and say, does she understand the impact of eating that expired milk? You know, so the role you guys play in sensitizing the people also is important. Are you guys doing that? I don't see you guys often in the airwaves.
We are sensitizing, and we're sensitizing. We have a risk communication unit at the authority, the risk communication, and we have a communication officer as well, because the risk communication person would be conveying the message scientifically, and then the risk involved, just like the issue of the sniper, because the issue of the sniper, any other officer cannot just relay the message. You can sensitize that, yes, it is bad A, B, or C, but the risk communication person would be disseminating the risk involved in it as well. So that is being done. Yes, we are targeting the airwaves, but we're trying to target the airwaves. That's why we're working with the media. But we know that here airtime is very expensive, to be honest. And that's why we always look for airtime at the national TV. But yet still with that, you also have to write as a government authority to show that this is a public health, this is a public interest, this is a public health issue, so that they can understand. Lately, we have been out, to be honest, we have been out in the public, and people are getting to know about food safety. And it's a blessing in this, guys, in the sense that when I look at social media before, people don't even know the food safety. People can't even say our name correctly. Some would say the assurance authority, security. But with this issue, people are, I would see comments coming that food safety, what are you doing about this issue? So to us, it's a good thing. It's meaning that people understand that there is a food safety body in this country. Some people wouldn't even know that there was a food safety body, or there's an authority responsible for food. But now you could see that people are addressing certain concerns and saying, what is FSQA doing? So that is really good to FSQA in that it gives FSQA not to be lazy. It helps FSQA to always be on your feet and know that you have to improve. You need to be on your feet. People are now aware. People are concerned. Food safety issues are getting up. So to me, this is a good thing. But sensitization, we would plead with the media as well.
You mentioned the social media, because you know, mainstream media, they're expensive. If you come to Fatou, they'll tell you that.
Well, we're giving you free advertisement right now, but and we'll continue. But then, like I said, food safety is everybody's business. I think everybody should.
But how about, it's good that you mentioned social media. Are you utilizing your social media platforms?
We are utilizing
effectively, so that it might not reach everybody. Like it might not reach her grandma in Badibu. It might not reach my grandfather in Kiang. But it might reach the people that use social media, and we know that a lot of people use social media today. And when we say social media, it might not only be Facebook, but there are other platforms that people use. Even WhatsApp. Even though we know the tendency of people manipulating information on WhatsApp is very high, but even WhatsApp platforms could be targeted if these things, especially with press release coming. Even with because like I said, a lot of people are now scared. to even consume smoked fish.
Yeah.
But I think with sensitization, like you said, there are other people that might not be doing this. Do you understand? It can also be sensitizing because in as much as there are consequences, health consequences of using these smoked fish that are, that have snipers. But generally, smoked fish or fish generally, without sniper being used, also I know has health benefits. So if people decide to do away with fish, it might, if proper sensitization is not done, I am afraid people might stop eating fish completely.
And we cannot buy meat. And we cannot buy meat. Meat is expensive.
It might not only be smoked fish, but fish in general. So that's why it's important for this sensitization to be done. When these press releases are out, how do you make sure that it is spread, to WhatsApp platforms? So I think utilizing your social media platforms might also help.
Currently, recently, we've tried to do that because we've created an Instagram account. Our Facebook account is up and running and being run by the communication officer. And then we're disseminating information through the WhatsApp, to the Twitter, and others. So currently, we are really on the media, and we are trying to sensitize, not only at the regional level, because when you get to, let's say, in Basse or whatever, we're trying to really utilize the community radios.
And we have offices all over the country?
Our offices are all over the country.
Good.
They are in key border points. They are in all the regions in the country. And initially, when we just started, we had one officer, but now we are moving to 2, 3, 4. We have officers that are stationed in the border. We have officers that are also within the community as well. And we're utilizing the community radios a lot. And we're also doing a lot of going on treks, because it is key to take people from here, going to decentralize, going to give out the message. For me, initially, I wouldn't go on trek. But recently, I've known upcountry, I go a lot on trek. And when we go on trek, we utilize the community radios. Because one community radio that we really used and utilized that I saw there was great impact is the one in Farafenni.
Yeah.
It was good, it was key. And then when we did the live programs, you could see the eagerness and the way people are ready to speak to us. So for me, what I learned is that probably people didn't know our existence, they didn't know our relevance. But now that they're hearing from us, they're eager to talk. The program was for 1 hour, but it couldn't end because you had a lot of calls. So meaning people are aware and want to reach out. So it's for us to be now accessible and available to the public so that they can reach out to us.
Especially in the local languages.
Yes, we try a lot with the local languages, and then that's why in terms of our staff corps, we try to employ people that also can speak the local languages. For me, I'm really trying now. My Olof is okay, but for the Mandinka, I would understand, but I definitely have to learn more so that we can communicate.
Yeah. So we went to, this morning, our team went to Tanje, and can you believe there was nobody there? The women are not smoking fish. This broke my heart because these people also live on there. This is their livelihood. So there was no one there. So we could not get them. We had to go to Gunjur to go to the market and see they were there. So let's look at what they had. Charles, if that video is ready, let's watch what the women had to say about this issue, and when we come back, we'll continue about with the other issues, the Brikama market and also the street vendors. So we look at that, Charles, if you're ready.
Snipper is an insecticide product in wide circulation in the Gambia. The product is a banned product in most parts of the world due to the adverse effects it poses on human health and non-target pieces in the environment. The Pesticides Control and Management Board has announced a ban on Snipper insecticides with immediate effect after fish smokers were last week accused of using chemical on smoked fish for preservation. However, in an audio making the rounds on social media, a woman confirms the use of Snipper on smoked fish for preservation.
Snipper menke chalisimboka. Ramatulay o metal de nyatra wo nyanna mo fala Gambia woto molbe banna fala because birinte commence taka kata tanje badala ka nyawni nje ka wafi ninna nyaw mam bam fanan ka sisinde ba nga sisinde nyin Sniper kanyi mem fotenting ikado man dinne ke kubero kon yata yake jiyo kon siel ka bari Sniper ni sero la.
Fish smokers within the Greater Banjul area have rejected the allegation. Maria Mandong is a fish smoker in Gunjur who refutes the allegation.
li ñuy wax ni yépp ci Snipper ñun Gunjur fi mën nañu ekkati ci suñu loxo du lakakati kong du lakakati caali simbo ñun ñëpp mën nañu ekkati suñu loxo ne garab bobu ñun musuñ ko yuus gisuñ ko sax fiñ ko yuusé waaw ndax ñun suñu liggéey ñun wóolu nañ ko te suñu liggéey sell na.
Mariama Sedi has been a fish smoker for 32 years in Gunjur. She says she has never used the chemical on her fish.
Snipper nene ma ayus ni ayus ngalon ne ko saya fengolem yo mol kamin fo fanan aseke itol ka damin fo abe wolto barin tolla jang nene malon fang malon min fang mo Snipper fo ngotin na manke mol la nyim foroti nka nyele simbole jani nyinan no mun na sanji tan saba anin fula mbe simbo janila mba sambala marse kono mba kongo janila mba sambala marse kono kunkelengo simbo nke bele jani ngandingol min be wuluje i karanta foy fanam fele ibe doku wala nka nyin doronne doku bari nyin Snipper nene ma longfang.
Adama Diouf, also another fish smoker in Gunjur, debunks the allegation.
Depuis bi ñu dalé ci lakakong bi ren ji laa déggali fan yi laa déggali bi ma ko déggee ba pare nag suma client bi mu ne ma jarul ngay lakka jën parce que boo ko lakkee gars yi ñu ngi ci marché bi jënduñu ñu ne dañuy def affaire bi ci jën yi ma ne ko bu dee loolu day ñun tam kooku dinañu sonal parce que ñun xamuñu loolu mosuñ koo def ci suñu liggéey ñun li ñuy liggéey dañuy lakka ngoon bu jot bu takkusaane ci lañ day lakka jën yi bu pare rek bàyyi ko ba mu sedda gis nga tooj yi foofu lañ koy génne bu seddee ñu toog koo paak ci boli mu dem Birkama.
Another fish smoker in Gunjur, Jay Sar, also denies using insecticide on her smoked fish.
Eko nsi telefon amo eko na nyen ka posonyo lekeye. Mbe mfan ko indila lako nyim Mario miye nyim fo janabe diala nunga iminu tuma kuo kono. Ay wolbe to fontindi ay je ka posonyo ke dama e be yitanti ngamira kumo ni ka dante ika kumale soto min ketete fangola dante kuoti day be kumo fola mi ya lonko ba tinna wo musol minu be do kuola nyeten mi ya keta nyeti ibalu nyabi na kol yala Gambia bankoti imbe mfayita ndantol gunjur janko na nye mansila je fenna nga sambano daw tubabudu.
Since the news emerged on social media, many people have stopped buying smoked fish, which has affected the businesses. The vendors explains how their businesses are affected.
ñeenti fan yépp man liggéeyuma suma jën yaa nga na li ci frige ki doon wax ni léegi man ak moom léegi-léeg sax dama ko dee sédda ci jën yi moom tam mu am lu mu furaatu ndax gaalam bi dafa dee dem Sénégal. xam nga lii tam sonal nit ñi la sonal lañu de te ñun suñu doom yi jànga yëpp ba wàcca ci lii lañ leen di fayal.
suñ jën yaa ngi nii jaratuñu dugal nañ suñu xaalis suñ jën yi jaratuñu depuis démba ñëpp dañ galaasa seen jën yi ndax ñu ne marché bi koŋ bi demul léegi fi mu nekk ne ñun suñ njaboot yi lii la ñu yaakaar moom la ñuy yóbbu suñ njaboot moom la ñuy fayee school suñ njaboot loolu la ñuy jëriñoo waaye léegi yow boo ñëwee nga bëgg a dund nit ñi nga bëgg koo dog si benn waxtu. Bila koko yala do kame jama
tol fele na hajo tinyanta nyi wato mando ku keno nye abuka sang fente fo nyi koko kumo tol ma londe nene maje nene ma ayus fana
to la balunya soto nkanna dimbal samba janne to nkandingol feto fata janne nkandingol la karamo jo janne nkanna hajol jara janne nkanna wulula la hajo jara janne kon womo niye nyun kumo fo ka Gambia dingol sakatuma min keta nye jani la karo kan na hajo tinya mba itandira la fana ko janabe na hajo tinya la mfolo le bala hajo tinya na lata fangola Gambia be warata nyame lata fangola kabrin Gambia fo Afrika ay lo akontela nyun kumo fo tele bungo kono ko musol ka posonyo le kela nyel kono ay finti na ya mari ja ka kedame ay mari tofo ntol sula tawole.
Health experts have warned of its dangerous effects. The National Environment Agency, together with the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, have issued a statement banning the importation and use of Snipper insecticide in the country. This statement was issued in a press release in February 2019. The NEA said the ban is effective on the importation, use and distribution of the said insecticide pending further notice. Reporting for Kerr Fatou, I am Buba Gajigo.
Welcome back, Mary. You heard the women. It's sad.
It is.
That this is their livelihood, this is where they make their money and feed their family. But again, we cannot just discount the importance of one person coming out and saying this, because it's a health issue. And even though they don't do it, but somebody claimed even in the report that she does it. And it has, in fact, in the audio, what she said was, so, but she doesn't know the effect. So these things, and these women are saying they don't do it. So, but now it's affecting their work. They're not even able to sell for the past couple of days. I do know there's going to be economic impact. It's going to affect those in the industry. But again, that compared to the greater one, the health impact is going to cause in the country.
For us as an authority, I think what we're looking at, yes, we're looking at probably other, maybe the economist or the trade will look at the cost benefit or the economic impact it would have, or the finance person.
Yeah.
But for everybody, particularly food safety, we're looking at the health implications. Because the life of someone outweighs the cost or whatever benefit. But looking at the video as well and hearing from what they were saying, those that are admitting the fact that they are doing it, according to the audio, I could deduce from it that they said they're doing it, but they don't even know the adverse effect.
Yeah.
So this is where sensitization comes in again. They need to be aware, they need to be sensitized about the adverse health effects of these things they are doing. So for me, I see once you sensitize them about the health adverse effect, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And once you also put it into them that you are doing this to preserve the fish, but the health effects are something else. But if the authorities get to see this, you would also lose money.
Yeah.
Because those doing it now, it's the adverse health effect they've lost, and their colleagues have also lost, according to the audio, that they're doing it. But we're yet to ascertain that.
And the interesting part is that she's saying that in Mandinka, Gambia. One thing you have to also, she has to also understand is that the health effects might not be now. It might have long term. But also, if you said, you know, if this really can kill, a lot of people must have, but a lot of people have died in the Gambia. Probably they have died from these snipers that they saw. Exactly, because you cannot ascertain whether they died from it or not. So the health consequences are there. But I only hope that, you know, you will track these people, especially this lady who said this, because she mentioned her name, she mentioned her place of residence. We need to get to these people. Maybe she has information, because she's confessing that she does it. So they need to help us. It's not necessarily, I mean, reaching out to them to, you know, destroy their livelihoods or source of income or whatever. But to make sure that, you know, even it could be possible that apart from even prosecution, but also to sensitize them. Probably they don't know the effects, because for her, she's just saying, she doesn't even understand.
And the reason why she's even doing that was she so it's more about sensitization.
And I'm sure if she knows the consequences of even coming out to say this, she may not even say it. But because it seems like she's not aware of it, she doesn't understand, and that's why she's coming out.
So exactly, because for us, we looked at it as something is about lack of knowledge. Because looking at the Birkama experience that I had, I realized that lots of them is about lack of knowledge. Once you put them on board and show them this is what is right, this is how to do it, a lot of women, they are in compliance. They comply, because this is where they get their livelihood from. Because to be honest, like you said, you went today to get information or something, there's nobody smoking fish. You had the same experience as well. And this is a great economic loss. But this great economic loss could only be addressed if there is proper sensitization to these women about the adverse effect, and there's proper enforcement, there's surveillance. I am sure whoever was doing it, or whoever intends doing it in the future, with the approach that is happening now, I think the practice will stop if it is happening. it would stop.
So let's say social media is good in some areas.
Yeah.
In most of the areas.
It is, because it is really
because
positive.
this really came out on social media.
And then it's from social media that also we're getting a lot of information. And it's social media is helping us to get to a lot of things. And social media, so that is why access to information now, you have to be really tactical in terms of access to information.
Yeah.
Because as food safety authorities, we're key about the social media, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially for enforcement. For us, even businesses, new businesses, what we do is our registration and licensing. We cannot know all the businesses, but when you get online, there's a lot of online adverts now that are doing. That is where we get our businesses and know that, oh, we're tracking A, B, or C, there's advert. So it helps us a lot. Social media, to be honest, it's helping. And then the more media houses we have, to be honest, for me, it is helping a lot. Because certain media houses have wider coverage. You get there, you target a lot of listeners. So for me, it's about conveying the message, targeting the right people and the right avenue.
Now, we're talking about Brikama. You guys closed the Brikama fish market. Why did it take so long? The market has been like this for so long. What happened? What took you guys so long to close that market? And what is the condition of the market right now? Charles, can you show us that the pictures? Because and we want to warn the viewers that the pictures are really, really bad. It looks very horrible.
With respect to the Brikama market, what took too long is, like we said, we came 2013, fully operational. We were going around the market. But the problem with the Brikama market, what took too long is probably our non-existence. And I would not say lack of knowledge, because our officers would go to the markets for routine inspection. But with respect to the current condition of the market, it's something that was new to us. It was new to us. And when we immediately saw, again, social media is really key. Social media guided us. And also some of our officers that went to the market. They saw how terrible the market was. We had
Charles, show us the one that had water and all the stuff.
Yes, the stagnant water.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So basically, it's about social media, it's about access to information and the knowledge we had about it. So we had to act fast and go to the Brikama market. So all I'm saying is about the approach again. Because you have other government agencies that could have equally closed the market that are there. Let's say, for example, the area council. Every day they go around to the market. And they collect taxes from the women. They engage the women. They see the condition of the market every single day. For us, to be honest, it's not every day that we are at the Brikama market, because we have schedules, we strategize. We cannot be everywhere at every day or time. But the time we went there and the information we received, we looked at it, we looked at the pictures, like the pictures that are showing currently now. And then based on first-hand information of our officers that went to the ground, we had to say this is not something that we are waiting to say we engage whoever is running the market, or we engage the council or the community. What we do is a massive immediate closure. We did not announce our coming. We did not inform anybody. We went straight to the market, went with the police again, which are enforcement. We closed the market, immediate closure of the market. Because we believe that the condition of the market, to be honest, it really poses high risk to human health. Not only to us consumers buying the food, and also even to the people handling the food. You could see the water that the food vendors are sitting very close to the waters. You would see them putting on pallets and sitting on the pallets. So there are a lot of people that are exposed to that risk. So we said, no, this is something we're closing, and we are mandated to close. Anywhere that we see that this place is not fit, not only for the food per se, the food we're consuming, even the area where you're preparing the food, storing the food, and selling the food, the Act gives us the mandate to close. So we decided to do an immediate closure. It wasn't easy, to be honest. Because I wasn't way back in those days, but looking at history and the conversations we had with the people, nobody has ever closed the market.
No.
This is the first time we're closing the market, and nobody has ever closed any market. So taking to close the market, it was a bold step we had to take, irrespective of the consequence, irrespective of whatever happened, the losses or whatever, because we closed the market because of what? The high risk. Because to be honest, the market was in a very, very bad stage. It's underestimated bad stage. I was shocked when I got there. We had to be in our booths. To be honest, I was the only lady there, but I had to go.
Yeah.
I said, this is not about sitting down on anything. We need to get to the scene. We need to see what is happening. We immediately closed. And then our Director General also supported us, did not leave us behind, and said, I am going to support you guys to close the market. And we went and closed the market. And we also had good support from the police. They did not relent. They gave us officers, enough officers to close the market, because we went with officers because there would be resistance. And Birkama, to be honest, is one area that is really difficult to control. We know these women because this is where they get their livelihood. You come one day and just say you're closing the market unannounced, they would really not take this response positive in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it was difficult, but we had to close the market because of the condition, and it was visible to everybody. We had the media go with us. And even when taking the media, we had a lot of issues that, no, don't go with the media, go first this. But we said, no, we have a purpose, we have a mission, we have a mandate, we need to do this. We need to close the market. And successfully, we closed the market. And then we're moving from the next step after closure from the market, which is ongoing.
When you say the market is the fish market, right?
It's the fish market.
It's the fish market. Because
okay, before people think it's the whole market.
No, because actually it's not the whole market. It's the fish market, but to be specific, yes, the fish plant. Because we saw that the water and the waste, because we looked at what's the source of the water. That's why we closed the fish plant. We closed the fish market, to be specific.
What is the source of the water?
Reason being that it is coming from, you have an ice plant there. It's an ice plant. There's an ice plant, there's a fish market. And they generate a lot of liquid waste. And the liquid waste need to go into those drainage. And the drainage system is bad. There's no proper drainage system, because it was constructed that we told that it was done to be connected to a sewage system, because this is a project by the Japanese that was ages ago. But the sewage, there was no sewage in Birkama, so they just had a drainage system. And then the septic tank to hold the water wasn't there. So you had a lot of water. There was no proper frequency of collecting the waste liquid, because they were just generating the liquid waste. It was being stored there, it's filled, and it had to overflow.
Wow.
And it's overflown, it's there, it's stagnant, it's not running. So meaning that if we hadn't intervened, it's the raining season, the water will be there, and they will be generating a lot of water. Because when we look at the water that has been generated in the fish market, to be honest, it's a lot of liters that have been generated. About 23,000 liters, I was told, of water that has been generated. And it's a whole lot, because to be honest, the Birkama fish market is massive. The amount of fish coming in is much. So the drainage system was a problem. So we had to look at the source as well to be strategic as to where do we close. You close where it's coming from. So that's why we closed the fish plant, to be specific.
So finally, before we go, we are not going to have her here and not talk about the street vendors. Because that's where we buy the ebes, the nyebes, the fried fish, and all of these things.
But Fatou, before you get there, I mean, still about the Birkama market. I want to bring in the area council. She made mention that they go to the market and collect, you know, I mean, what they call duties or tax from these women every day. And if you look at the Local Government Act, you know, 60% of the revenue, I think 60% or so, if I get it right, of the revenue that is being generated should go back to the people. And of course, the market is part of that. These women are paying tax. They're paying something every day. At the end of the day, they also need that very hygienic environment, that clean environment where they're going to sell food. But then, you know, what is the area council doing about this? It's just so pathetic that we have an area council that is so negligent that the Food Safety Authority had to come and close down this place, which is kind of course, like she said, it's a very difficult decision, I'm sure, because these are our mothers, these are our sisters, these are our aunts, and this is their source of income, their livelihoods. They're taking care of the school fees of their kids, and then also they're putting food on the table from this. But at the end of the day, it's about public safety. It's about the safety, the health of the people out there. And of course, you cannot hold anybody responsible for this except the Birkama Area Council that is so negligent, not doing its job in making sure that this place is hygienic, that, you know, people, women are able to come out and sell their food. I mean, it really shows lack of responsibility on the part of our local government authorities, especially when it comes to Birkama Area Council. I know a lot of other areas are having problems, but Birkama Area Council, this thing has been going on for more than 2 years now or so. People have been talking about this every day. But what is the council doing? The council shows, it shows there is high level of incompetence in that council. I mean, it seems that nobody cares about what happens in this market, to the extent now the authorities have to close down. And I think there should be, for me, the people of Brikama, especially those women, should go out there and hold the area council responsible for the misery, for the suffering that they are going through today, because the authorities have closed down that market. They are not living up to their responsibility, and they should be held accountable for that. And I think if there is any other step to be taken, I think the area council must be involved as well. If the authority is taking any other step in terms of investigation, in terms of, you know, getting information and taking other actions, I think, you know, the Brikama Area Council really needs to be involved in this, because it is their responsibility. It is their failure, it is their negligence that has caused all this trouble.
Yes, you want to come in? Yeah.
Yes. With respect to that, when we close the market, before getting to close the market, as soon as we close the market, you know, you would definitely have a lot of people coming in. Yeah. On that day, we informed the office of the governor and the area council as well, yeah. Because you cannot get to a territory wherein the governor wouldn't be shown respect, or because you're closing something that is within their area, within their domain. So we informed the office of the governor, and he was so in support of what we were doing that yes, we are closing the market. It is timely, because what I realized is a lot of people, even the market vendors, they were happy when we closed the market, but some were not happy, some were happy. But in the beginnings, the ones that were not happy, to be honest, later, if you go and do your surveys or get to the market now, you would see the responses that they are happy that we have intervened. Yeah, because now something will be done. Something will be done. Because the issue is they were waiting for who to come. Yeah. Because what they told was that government officials will come, give them promises, and that's it. But this is something that is action-oriented. But another thing to disclose is that you mentioned about the area councils, they should be held accountable with the market. Yes, they have to be held accountable. But what we realized is, because initially we could not know who is running the fish plant. Yes. We spoke to the council, and the council said they are not running the fish plant. Yeah. We told them that, but who is collecting? It's within the market. They said, no, it's a project. Yeah. So we had to find out and see that it has been run by the Department of Fisheries. Yeah. It's been run by the Department of Fisheries. True. That's why our closure letter that we served them, it's addressed to the manager of the fish plant. Yeah. So the plant, the fish plant in the market, which is the fish market, is being managed by the Department of Fisheries, not the area council. So the area council, in that sense, that it is being managed by a separate body, which is the Department of Fisheries, and that what they said was they don't collect the daily rates from the people within that area. What they collect is outside that area. So which was understandable, because that helped us to establish as to who do we serve our closure, because it was a problem. So we realized that it was the Department of Fisheries, and the Department of Fisheries admitted that they're the ones running the market, because we met with the plant manager and he explained everything. They have a structure in place. But nonetheless, we felt that collecting of the garbage
was the
area council within the area of the market, the surrounding. Yeah. But we engage them in that, because the waste is being generated by the fish plant, and the fish plant is run by what? The Department of Fisheries. They collect the rates. Yeah. But we engage council. So I think it's about how the approach you take to engage council. And we've engaged council, and to be honest, they are very positive in their response, because they have accepted to be collecting the garbage and everything. Because after we close, according to our procedures, after we've done an immediate closure, because immediate closures are mainly done for major violations like this, that you cannot wait to serve the person. You just effect the closure, and then later you give them what we call an improvement notice. Okay. An improvement notice would detail out all the violations that were highlighted, all the violations that were observed, and then the findings, we give you recommendations and timelines. So this is something that we're working on. But to my surprise, even before we're yet to serve them with that improvement notice, but the women are mobilizing themselves to work. If you get to the Brikama market, we'll try by all means to do a before and after. Yeah. If you get to the Brikama market now, the pictures that we took at the time, and if you see now, it's a total different. The women of the market. If you see those people that were resistant to our closures, to be honest, when we closed, they were the ones cleaning. Since we closed, they've cleaned the market, they've scrubbed, not only just on the surface, they've scrubbed everything. even the stagnant water that was at the market, everything has been removed.
Yeah. In fact, my point is because it's not because people, like I said, this has been on the social media for 2 years now or 3 years. It has been garbage collection, and the council has not been doing that. The water that comes from the fish plant or whatever is one thing, but also this is mixed with garbage and all that, and then the council is not doing that as a responsibility.
Because I remember we did a program. We went to this place about a year ago, 2 years ago, and the council told us it was the fish plant because those were the ones that were collecting the revenue, and the fish plant people were saying, but the council should also collect the garbage. But the council is saying if we are not collecting their rates or they're not paying duties to us, you know, it's a whole complicated issue. I'm glad you guys closed it because the rainy season is coming. It was going to be crazy again. And
still it's under the council.
It's still under council,
but now, to be honest, when we intervened as a government office and then we sat both parties. We had even the market association, the vendors, the president, we spoke to them, everything. We got to a compromise with the council because they are now ready to take up responsibilities because there's someone watching in them. So this brings about the issues of checks and balances within the government systems. So there should be checks and balances wherein officials will know that someone is checking me, there's a watchdog there. So now the council is responsive positively towards what we're doing. They would clean. And then the Honorable Minister of Fisheries as well. When he saw that we've closed the place, he was away. Once he came back, he did a visit to the market, and he made certain commitments to the vendors because we raised issues of garbage collection, like you mentioned, because for us, we want that to be on daily basis.
It has to be on daily
and then
basis.
we would survey the amount of waste they are generating and then the capacity of the tank, because we have to do all those calculations so that we can advise them properly. So for us, we would really want them to be even collecting the garbage twice a day because looking at the waste that they generated. And so this is something that the minister is really ready to support, and he made commitments on the spot and said that as of the day that he went there, now there would be a truck that will be coming to collect the waste. That's the liquid waste. And then the council also is ready to collect the trailer that they put there to get the tractor to be picking up the trailer all the time to collect the waste. So for me, it's about engagement and involvement and check and balances. And enforcement is key.
Enforcement is key here. That's what I'm interested about. It's not even about the commitment from the minister, but it's also action. Because like you said, the women said a lot of government officials have come there in the past. They've always promised them, but they never hear from them.
Enforcement
so Gambians are good at that. Engagement sometimes doesn't bring anything. Many government officials will come and say, we're doing this, commit, and then everybody will be happy that things are going to change, but nothing changes.
Nothing changes. But now, to be honest, when you look at the Birkama market, you'll be happy.
I hope it will change for good.
The women are happy. It will change for good because our recommendations, to be honest, it's for the long term.
It's for the long term.
We are looking for long-term solutions, and also they need to assure us that they would be regularly doing this cleaning, and they would put up a waste because the biggest problems were waste management problem. That's a waste management problem, and this waste management problem will definitely lead to these things: non-collection of garbage. There was inadequate waste tanks to hold the waste, drainage, cleanliness. So it's basically about hygiene. And we also plan to train these women as well, because sensitization is key. We want to take this opportunity to at least get the women, because now the women are aware about food safety. They are really happy and responsive. So we want to take this opportunity as well to train the women about basic hygiene, because if you get to the market, they don't only sell the fish. Most of them do the mincing.
The mincing,
So the hygiene aspect of the mincing, the water they're using, the bucket, and the frequency of cleaning their utensils, this is something that we're ready to train them on. And for me, this is a positive move. It wasn't favorable in the beginning, but the outcome for me is positive. And for me, this is what we need in Gambia, and then the women are really responsive. Birkama is something we need to set a record. And then I am happy
we'll be following you guys in Birkama and see.
No problem.
Finally, I know we're running out of time. The food sellers.
Yes.
What are you guys doing about that?
The street food vendors.
The street food vendors. Ebe, borom ebe, nyambe, nyebe,
Yes.
you safi. How many you in buga? Why you gonna meet this deka be food poisoning be and stuff like that?
To be honest, for those we are working hard in that we are now doing a different registration for them, because in 2020 we have a new registration and licensing regulations. Since we started operation in 2013, we were registering for free. Up to 2020, we came up with a new regulation that was signed and gazetted by the then Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, and it is now enforceable. So as of 2021, January, we started registering and licensing all business operators. And then the street food vendors, we separated them because we felt that these are high risk, meaning we don't know where they are preparing the food. Most of the access we have is at the selling point and hygiene. So what we're doing is we're registering them separately, and in the registration, they would definitely need a medical screening certificate. That's it, they go to the hospital, get a stool sample and do an analysis to see whether they are fit and proper to sell and handle food. And then we also train them on basic hygiene, which is cleanliness. And because you see most of them, they're using their hands to hold the money. They're using that same hands to get to the bread. They wouldn't have time to wash their hands to get to the bread, sell the sauce. So all these can cause cross-contamination.
But do you guys have the resources for all of this? We have so many street vendors from the local shops to jaikati ebebi, jaikati mburo nyebe, jaikati panket bi. Do you have the resources to track down on all these people, get them registered, trace them health-wise, and get them registered? Do you have the resources?
For the resources, which is the financial resources or the human resources?
Financial and human.
For the financial resources, I think this will be a good avenue as well if other government officials are listening.
Yes.
So that they increase our budget allocation and know that food safety is expensive to do, but it's an investment that is really good, because a healthy nation will bring a productive nation. If your officers are really healthy, they can the workforce will be there. There would be productivity. So I think if they are listening, this is a good avenue for them to help us increase our budget allocation.
The availability of finance will also help in the availability of
staff.
It's
very
important.
It's really key. So for the human capacity, to be honest, it's not there. But what you do is, with the limited human capacity you have, you strategize and work with your stakeholders, like I mentioned. For them, we would do routine inspections, go out, and then, but those people mainly you have to target during the early mornings and at night. And we do night inspections as well, because most of the Afra sellers and the others sell at the night. And then food vendors are really cunning. Most of the in compliance and non-compliance, they do during the night, because they might be thinking food safety is sleeping. No, but will be coming out. But for their registration, we've prepared a special registration, which I mentioned. But in terms of capacity and how do we track them down, that would take time, but we will definitely get there gradually. And then we will be using the media more to do press release. You have to strategize, because you cannot reach out to all. What you do is, during a grace period, send your press releases, do sensitization, give them a grace period, and get out there and do the enforcement. Get the police, do a proper raiding of, if you get to these places and see that they're sitting near the gutters, next to the gutters, don't even say a word. Just pick the food and everything and put it in the truck and go. It would be painful in the beginning, but gradually they would move out. Because you get to these highways in the morning, you see them selling. But these are things that we're really looking into. Registering all of them would be difficult, but gradually we'll get there. But the main issue would be the enforcement.
I think one issue that people are so concerned about when it comes to these street vendors, like you said this selling the hygiene there might be good, but where they are preparing this food, some of them prepare this food overnight, just come in the morning and sell it. And you can't get it. Like sometimes when we go to even offices, sometimes you go to some offices, they have special people, somebody who sells food, and that's where everybody will buy breakfast. Let's see, it's very high. I mean, the hygiene is there and all that. But people are not aware of where these foods are being prepared. I think that's a problem. And if you go in the streets, like just Airport Junction here, when this OIC project started, the gravel that is packed there, I mean, sometimes when I'm going to Brikama for classes, I see the wind blowing, and then people are selling there, right there, and people will come and just buy these and go. Like you mentioned, when somebody is selling this mburo nyebe and all that, you're getting the money from different people. That money it went into different hands. You hold the money with your hand, put it somewhere in the bag, and then get the bread, sauce and then hand it over again. I don't just get
cement,
KD cement, and then just give it to the person like that. Like I said, a lot of people die in this country. I always say this. Like you said, we don't have proper tracking of foodborne disease in this country. Sometimes I'll be like, you just hear the death of someone. I mean, what happened? Just last night, he was complaining of stomach ache, and they rushed him to the hospital. Before they arrived, he died. but nobody will track what she ate. The first question should be, what happened? What did she eat last night? Okay, you must establish that. And then, once that happens, it's like, what to budget, and then we go and bury you, and that's the end of you. And this keeps on repeating. But there must sometimes, somebody somewhere is responsible for this. Yeah. Just a few days ago, somebody was vomiting very badly in my area to say, he ate, mburo nyebe, and then that's it. And then somebody also came complaining about the same thing. Sometimes when you get to these people, that is why I'm very careful now. I don't easily buy street food. And when I see people buying ebe, especially ebe, thank God I don't even eat ebe. But when I see people buying ebe, anywhere you go, you see people stopping, oh, ebe stuff, and then you just go and buy that ebe. Sometimes, the hot sun, under the hot sun, they'll just put it in this pan, big pan. You don't even know what is prepared in that pan. Maybe that person used that pan at home to do certain things. And then
business.
No, but this is really serious. I don't know what food say, especially. My question is, the schools. Yeah. That is my big worry, because maybe Fatou and I can control, when we go to buy something and we are not satisfied with the hygiene and all that, we're careful, we will not buy. But in the school system, especially in the primary schools, are you present in these places? Because these are kids. They don't even know. They can even find something in the food. They'll just take it out and throw it. I mean, what are you present in the schools? I'm worried about these places.
Yes, we are present in the schools. We are present in the schools, and we also have strategies. We've done a lot with the schools, to be honest. So I think it's now time to work with the media houses so that they can help us disseminate the good work we're doing. Yeah. We're present at the schools. Present at the school in the sense that we even have clubs in the schools. We had trainings that we did for these home economics teachers in the schools, and we have focal persons in the schools. We have special officers, food inspectors, that would go to these schools and inspect. And what we did is we trained the home economics teachers so that they can be our watchdogs in the schools, because you have lots of schools, so you have to strategize. Yeah. So we have them, and the people selling at the schools, because we know the vulnerables are the kids. Yeah. Because the vulnerables are the under 5, the elderlies, and the pregnant women. Yeah. So our kids are very vulnerable because they have little choice to make. Yeah. So what we do is our officers will train these home economic teachers, and they would now trickle it down like a training of trainers and train them on basic food handling practices, good hygienic practices, so that they understand the basic hygienes of how to treat it. Because you have also other schools that they have kitchens in which the kids the people selling, the food vendors will cook. So all these things we're doing inspections. With respect to the schools, to be honest, we have been doing inspections in the schools. I don't know whether this could be a solution. Yes. I don't know whether it might be a good idea. Yeah. I mean, why not all those that are selling in the schools being registered with the school, and the school can build, a kitchen where all of them will prepare their food. You don't have to prepare your food in the house. Yes, Fatou, it could be a solution. I mean, this is just getting worrying. I'm just worried because, like I said, it's not only about the hygiene where they are selling, but also about where they are preparing this. Because you are not going to their houses to know where they are preparing this. I know in other countries, you must be certified before you're able to sell. Even a restaurant, before you're able to sell. I remember visiting a restaurant. I do visit this Sierra Leonean restaurant in London. And the lady was telling me that, she always have to make sure that while preparing the food, she always have to make sure that the kitchen is so tidy. Yeah, because I asked her why. She said, if at any point, because normally they come for unannounced inspection. Yeah. If at any point they come and find out that my kitchen is not hygienic and all that, they can close this place down for 1 year, or some they can close it down forever. You will never sell again. Yeah. That's exactly. So for me, it could be a solution. Women that sell there, you don't necessarily need to have 50 women selling in one school. You can strategize. There could be maybe 10 or 15 or 5 of them that are selling. There could be a kitchen that is created. You see, we must be ready to be innovative as a country. We have to move forward. This is not difficult. When you say this, somebody might think that, no, you're just getting too much. No, we can build a standard kitchen in the school where these vendors will come and prepare their food. Yeah. When they prepare,
we make sure that this place is so good and clean and tidy, and then they prepare it there so that the confidence can be there. That food auto, in fact, you may not need to be present there, because the school administration can even help you with that, knowing that this place is so tidy, and then there's confidence that there is trust that yes, they're preparing this food in a very good place. When they are done, they come and sell it. Nobody will have that burden. So I think that will even reduce the burden on the food safety authority.
That's exactly the approach we're using for the schools currently with the training of trainers. But also with respect to what you mentioned about having certificates in a restaurant in London, and then they would say it has to be clean because the food safety. For here is the same. Anybody handling food has to have that health certificate. So if you go to a restaurant today, we do unannounced visits. That's exactly what we do. The only visits that are announced is full audits. That's when we definitely tell you we are coming. That is like major factories that we would tell you that we're coming, we're going to audit. That's done once a year. But that is announced. But all other inspections are unannounced. Right now, if we go to a restaurant, we don't need to tell you we're coming. We just bump into the restaurant, but we need to show you our cards and enter your kitchen and open anything.
A famous restaurant, I remember, was closed at Westfield.
Yes, very well. That restaurant, we did the same. The one at Westfield. We just bumped into the restaurant, showed our cards, looked at the food, checked everything, and your staff also have to be medically screened, each of your staff. If we find that these things are not in place, we will close you temporarily and ask you to do improvements. So these are some things that the authority is doing, but there is still room for improvement.
There's room for improvement, and we want to end the program here, but when we come back, we'll definitely like to have you again. This conversation is important. I think, like I said, food business is everybody's business, because you don't know, we have no control over what most of the time what we eat, because people like us, we walk, you go, you're hungry, you're like, okay, I need to go to a restaurant. Maybe that restaurant you see,
exactly. That's a lot of people,
And one thing also, sometimes, I mean, for the food safety officers also, they make a halis, right? You go to big supermarkets, I don't want to name names, they are selling all these expired goods, you cramp on them, and they manager and you let them do these things. These things also, how do you monitor these officers also? Because to be honest, some people, for their own selfish interest, they could just jeopardize everything for the entire country. So these things, we have those, pocket people also in the system. And I think, it's important how well are you monitoring, who is checking, who is policing the police? Let's say.
The operators are policing the inspectors. Because if you look at our act, for example, the act says that a lot of provisions are saying that the food business operator has an obligation to ensure that the food is safe. It has to be fit for human consumption. You have to prepare. And also the act is saying that the food inspectors also have a responsibility. Yes, the operator has A, B, or C to do, but whoever has rights, it comes with responsibilities. So the act is saying that it's putting a burden on food inspectors to act ethically, even divulging information. If I go to a restaurant today, I am privy to the kitchen. Somebody, a customer, wouldn't go to the kitchen. Like you mentioned, the restaurant is nice. Where you have access is just in the sitting area. But the restricted area is only for food safety officers, definitely, and the staff. So if today in the execution of my duties, I go into a restaurant, for example, Mary's restaurant, I go in the kitchen, I see something really bad. I go out to my friends or go home and said, really, Mary? Or I said, don't go to that restaurant again. It was really bad. Today during work, I went there. For us at food safety, that is unethical and in violation of the code of conduct for food inspectors. Because any information that you are privy to or receive in the execution of your duties, it has to be private and confidential. You don't have to divulge the information. Because if you divulge such information you're privy to, you're tarnishing or defaming the character of that restaurant. In the sense that if the restaurant has already improved or the food business operator has improved and opened, you've already tarnished the image. So any information you receive, it has to be confidential within the work that you're doing. And then also you don't have to get favors from the business operators. You go for inspections, you're really thirsty in a supermarket, you're about to inspect and you tell the operator, can I get water? He'll definitely say, no, you're not paying for it. You get the water for free. What is he expecting? Non-violations will not be reported. So all these things are not. And then we've seen in the past that operators are, some of them will allege that your officers are taking A, B, or C. But the authority investigate such issues. We have disciplinary committees. If any other officer is found wanting, he would be put to task. For us, we don't compromise that. In the past, we had a lot of officers that were disciplined based on these things. We don't compromise that. Because food business operators, yes, they have a role to ensure that they are doing A, B, or C, but their rights also need to be protected. So for those unethical content, to be honest, it has reduced a bit because it goes down again. Actions are being taken and examples are being set.
Examples are being set, and we look forward to seeing more examples being set. But also, you know, I think this conversation this should be the beginning. We should have more of these conversations in other local languages as well, because it's important that the people know the importance of the work you are doing, and also have consideration for some of these things. It's important. Food we consume can be, if it is bad, can be very dangerous to our system, and I think it's important. Thank you very much, Mary. We called you guys just today, but you were available to come have this conversation with us. Thank you very much, Esa. And we want to thank our team, Charles, Mustafa, and Siri, and the entire team. Good night to you all. See you next week, inshallah. Bye-bye.
Better and stronger as the sole ground operator at the Banjul International Airport. With an expansion in travel services, customers are assured of GIA's capacity to cater for all their travel needs, provided by professional, experienced, and ever-smiling staff. GIA's Hajj package and services, by far the best in the country, give the customers the opportunity for a memorable Hajj experience. For a more efficient cargo services, GIA means business as it launches its new multi-million-dollar ultra-modern cargo complex to revitalize and stimulate air transport. GIA, the pride of the Gambia.
Every day is a new opportunity to make sure our first impressions are always our best and to see possibilities on the horizon. To make our facilities and services more accessible and find freedom all around us. With a location proximity to active markets, with a liberal air transportation policy. That daily pursuit is how we turn everyday opportunities for you. For all destination marketing support, customized packages for new existing airlines and operators, and for a highly ranked tourist destination, the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority is here to serve. We regulate air transport, operate and manage BIA technical requirements, merged with commercial considerations. We have experienced and well-trained aviation professionals to cater for your needs. For investment opportunities in building airport hotels, shopping malls, playground for children, do contact us on 4472-831, 4472-893. Gambia Civil Aviation Authority. We go beyond daily.